recently, again, we saw Damian Lillard was stretched, waived after tearing his Achilles in the playoffs. The move, caught everyone off guard, including him, I'm sure. But it's another reminder just of how ruthless the business of basketball can be. And I think Melo tweeted something. I'm not sure what the tweet exactly was, but I think it was that the NBA owners, that there's just no loyalty in the NBA from the ownership side. And just want to get both of your thoughts on, Dame's situation and what does the future look like for Dame moving forward after this?
I think he's in, because you can look at it two ways, right? You can look at it from, and I always go back to owners being smart now with this new CBA and the aprons involved, right? I keep dating back to this apron because when you see them shedding moves and shedding players around, it's because they're trying to not eat up these salaries. And you got a team that no longer, in my eyes, I think are contending when you lose someone like Dame. And so I'm not sure what's going to happen. We had conversations actually the other day in the gym of like, damn, did Giannis ask for a trade, or like, what's the situation going on there? So in one way, it's like, all right, Dame, we're shedding this money. We're going to pay you your money, but then you get a chance to go and play somewhere and compete for a championship, right? We maybe think the window here is closed. You get healthy, you get a chance to go pick where you want to play. But then there's the side of, you know what I mean? We still believe in you here. We got Giannis, we got a culture, we lost Brooke, but we got a young Brooke and Miles Turner locked in. We can still win here. So like I'm trying to think of both ways. I always play devil advocate in situations. So
when y'all first heard it, what y'all think? Immediate first thought.
I was like, they only getting rid of him because of his Achilles. That's all I was saying, and I was hot about it.
I thought it was a little crazy, but again, he's older, he's getting injured. Clearly, they're trying to move on as quickly as possible. They're trying to rip the Band-Aid off as soon as possible and move on. That's what I thought.
So, and I'm gonna ask you this question too. Do you think Giannis had anything to do with this?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I believe bringing in Miles Turner, it was part of that deal. And then a report came out that Giannis was aware of the Miles Turner trade, which therefore would mean that he was aware that Dame was up out of here. So I think he did know.
See,
that is interesting.
See, think about it, because here's the thing about when you're a Giannis, a LeBron in that situation that kind of controls the franchise's step. A non-answer is as bad as an answer. So if you like, the coach is like, if the management comes to you and says, well, what do you think about coach, or we're going to do this, or we may fire him, and your star player is like, well, you got to do what you got to do as an organization. So he's not saying no, that you got to fire him, that you don't have to fire him, but he's not saying yes, I advocate for it. So so a lot of times, and I'm gonna get to your point about loyalty. A lot of times it's like a player being in a situation, look, I didn't know, I didn't say anything, I'm upset, but did you really advocate to have this person stay? Or did you just kind of let the organization, when they asked you the question, do what they had to do? And you can't play that in between, okay? Now, loyalty. Ain't never been no loyalty in the league. So stop it. Never has been. Never will be. Because the bottom line is the bottom line in NBA and professional sport. Now, there are outliers. Look at what the Lakers did with Kobe. Back end of his career, they paid him. Okay? They paid him. Jeannie Buss took care of him. You always gonna have an outlier in there. Did you think it was a point where we know who Mr. Miami was, is D Wade? What happened there? He had to leave to come back. Alonzo had to leave to come back. Okay? Time and time again, you're gonna see this, because I came into this league, bro, fourth pick in the league. It was a market value. You didn't have a rookie salary cap. Shaq was one, then Lonzo was two, then Christian Laettner was three. Guess what? I was four. Mavericks didn't want to pay me. Didn't want to pay me because their draft picks 2 years before didn't pan out. I mean, what they got to do with me?
Right.
So I got the longest holdout ever in the league. Only played 28 games my rookie year. It took all my rookie year, but I wasn't going to give in. I said, because if you don't want to pay me, just trade me, or I'm going back to school. So I learned the business of basketball early. I got criticized for it. I got ostracized for it. Like, who's this rookie coming in here demanding? I said, I ain't demanding nothing. I said, my window of earning money is this. And I'm the 4th pick. I damn sure ain't taking what the 8th pick got, which they wanted to offer me. So I said, if you don't want to pay me, I'm not coming. So that taught me the business of basketball early on. And I've seen it through organizations that I played at and played with, where they'll tell you one thing, okay? They'll tell you and say one thing, but at the end of the day, it's the bottom line. And organization got to do what they got to do. The one time, I would say this when I was in Miami, right? Pat Riley is the man. I was a free agent and went there and played. The next year I was a free agent. And he called me, I was living in Dallas. He called me and said, Jimmy, we got to make a move. I think you should be starting, but I got these 2 rookies we just drafted. I got to see if they can play. Well, one of them was D-Wade. Duh. You know what I'm saying? But he called me and told me.
Yeah, it was a relationship.
You see what I'm saying? He said, Jimmy, if you don't find a spot you want to go, you always can come back to Miami and play. But I want you to be able to do it, but I got to play these guys. So it's always outliers, but and as far as Dame, think about it. If I'm Dame, I'm like, where can I go? That really, can I do a 2 with the 1 year the second year is an option year, rehab, close. I love to see him in Minnesota, actually. But I don't know if he still want to be that far away from home rehab. But I think Dame would be fine, but he's going to be on the back end. But he got to understand, too, when he comes back, he got a different role to play, too, wherever he goes.
What squad do you think would like to take Dame with the situation that he has, where you think he'll look good at?
Anywhere, bro. Like, but put him with Houston.
I like that.
That's real nice.
Now, does he play backup to Fred? Or does he, because you think about it, he's out a year, he comes back with Van Vliet.
I mean,
Fred.
Depending on how he looks, right?
Yeah, but I think that's a conversation. But you put him on that team where there is a KD,
right.
There is, I think, there's defense around him, there's length around him, and it's just from I always like if it's a smaller guard, pair him with length around him. So him being on that team, you got a passing big and Sengun. You got KD, a lethal shooter. You got the Thompson twin as one of the best defenders in the game. Jabari Smith, length, spreads the floor like that. And there's enough youth around him that he doesn't have to carry load like that. You got Fred that can come off the bench, or you can play him in tandem, however you want to do that. But I like him in Houston. I think that's a great fit for him in Houston.
So how do you, it is interesting too, because he's a little bit older now, coming off Achilles. We know based on KD that you can come back and really be effective, especially because KD didn't rely on athleticism to kind of, and Dame doesn't either. He can just shoot it. But the mindset too, I tore my ankle up. Now, when I tore mine up, it was 800 years ago. So we didn't have the technology. But when you got your injury and you had to rehab, how long did it take you mentally? Because that's with Dame, I think wherever he goes,